Hi, Weather Joy here with your bottom of the South Island weather recap and forecast. It's been 3 weeks, so today is Sunday, July 20th. We're well into summer and we've just got back from a trip up to one of my favorite places, Hornby Island, and what a beautiful string of weather we had up there. Beautiful temperatures. But yeah, let's see, as we get into this on this Sunday, so 3 weeks have gone by. We've had a fairly dry January, pretty dry. There was one little rain I'll talk to you about. But before we get started, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank and acknowledge the first peoples of this land, as always, from North Saanich out to Sooke and beyond across Turtle Island, for allowing us to live, work, play, and exist on their beautiful traditional territory. Haitchka, many thank yous. Many thank yous. Okay, so I'm going to have to read off verbatim what's been happening since, because I can't keep track of it all in my mind. If you look at the last forecast, you see we finished off on a fairly hot note. So we had July starts off hot, but not quite heat wave, with that ridging over the U.S. we had talked about, ridging over the U.S. west coast still hanging on. By the second, weak low pressure off the Panhandle coast brings a weak front through in the morning with just a spot of cloud and cooler temperatures, but things clear out again with weak surface ridging moving in behind. That ridge over the U.S. west coast has broken down by the third, leaving us under a very light west flow, which kind of dominated for a while. Fairly cloudy skies for most and cooler temps, not quite a summer's day on the third. This same pattern continues for the 4th and 5th, with temperatures cool enough and enough marine cloud to keep us out of this summer days. But by the 6th, despite low pressure entering the Gulf of Alaska, we see the flow tend west-northwest a bit, bringing in weak surface high pressure, but enough clearing and warming for a summer day on the 6th. This manages to hold on for the 7th. However, eventually, this Gulf of Alaska low sends a northeast-southwest front across the BC coast from the west. Cloud increases through on the south coast earlier for the 8th up the coast, with rain arriving by the evening of the 8th, falling overnight into the 9th. Decent rain for some, actually, but just a sprinkle for others. So others, mainland kind of got a soaking, others a bit drier. Behind this front, we see a new surface ridge build in from the northwest, bringing clearing under a north flow, but cloud piling up against the north-facing hills. Not quite a summer's day. However, as this ridge settles in under a weak westerly flow, we see a couple of nice summer days for the 11th and 12th as this light west flow continues despite fairly strong low pressure up in the Gulf of Alaska. By the 12th, ridging to the west-southwest begins to strengthen, pushing northwards through offshore waters and temps. So coming up here a little bit, temps hit 30 in hot spots on the 13th, but just briefly. Temperatures cool a notch overnight into the 14th as a little disturbance moves down through the interior. And this is kind of where the pattern goes from there. We're getting high pressure building up here. Why am I using my finger? High pressure building up here, and then storms coming down here. So we start to get this northerly flow around this time. Temps cool a notch overnight into the 14th as a little disturbance moves down through the interior under this new north flow, but temperatures remain warm enough for another summer's day. By the 15th, this offshore ridge has built way up into the Gulf of Alaska, and this light north-northwest flow down the coast brings nice, dry, sunny weather as temps heat up into heat wave territory for the 15th, 16th, 17th, with no coastal fog until a little on the 17th, but nothing crazy. So this is a nice dry flow. When the high pressure in the summer is up here, it still gets hot enough for just a heat wave, but not the kind of heat wave we get from the U.S. Southwest or South Coast, U.S. West Coast heat wave. By the 17th, this interior low has moved on and flow flattens out a bit, come from the northwest. And this allows a bit of marine moisture to come in, low-level marine moisture. This northwest flow brings a weak little front early on the 18th with just a sprinkle for some. with cloud and just, things clear out behind this later in the day. And for the next couple of days, the 18th to today, the 20th, we see a mix of sun and cloud in this northwest flow. So this was sort of flattened out a little bit. That's mellowed out. A northwest flow bringing this this kind of marine air, cooler temperature in, kind of seasonal temperature in. And that's between the offshore high pressure and interior low pressure. Still kind of low pressure, but not that much. Now, where do we go from here? Well, since this Friday, we've had a little front pass through. We're in a light northwest flow, as we mentioned. That's bringing some cloudy, but plenty of sun to the south coast. This should continue well into this week with moderate summer temperatures and fairly nice weather. Cloud burning off through the day because the sun's so powerful. As we move further into the week, flow tends to be a little bit more westerly as low pressure moves down into the over the panhandle. So we're going to get a bit more of this ridge kind of flattens out down here. We get a little bit more of a westerly flow, bringing a weak front to the BC coast on Friday. Probably a little cloud, maybe a sprinkle, and then from there we see a second low move in over the weekend. But if that brings any cloud or precip, it's early into next week. We're not really sure. So we had a little bit of low pressure here. A second low comes in. Looks like it's going to, on the weekend, strengthen a little bit over there. Still have this westerly flow, but a lot of it's fairly clear sky. Some marine moisture, particularly in the mornings. But whether this gathers into a front coming across here, we're still watching surface high pressure. Maybe sticking there. It's quite strong. Or it holds quite nicely this time of year. Anyway, that's kind of wasn't my best forecast, but I've been out of practice. So I hope that helps out. Hope you guys are doing okay in the future. We're in a nice summer here. Like I mentioned, it's pretty dry this July. Some of us are only at 1 or 2 millimeters. Vancouver mainland, they've collected 15. There's a dump there. But things are really drying out, and we'll just see how it goes. Not a lot of rain in the forecast, maybe a sprinkle here and there, but truly the dry season. Hope you're doing well in the future. Be kind to each other. To my friends and plants, animals, spirits and beings across this land, thank you for sharing your gifts in past summers, in present summers, and look forward to all the seasons to come and your lessons. Thank you very much, and may the forecast be with you.